seen it unveiled on MayMay Made It's YouTube video, but we are going to be uncovering the July Stamp of the Month kit, Stamp of the Month club, and not only unveiling what it is, but also designing a card, a perfect card for that special friend of yours with a fun summer twist. We'll see you this time on the Nifty Scrapbooker. Now, before I get into what the MayMay Made It stamp of the month was for July, I would just want to show you some of the things I'll be using today. So I got several sizes of stamp blocks. I got the Distress Ink and Fossilized Amber, Simon Hurley Create Dye Ink Pad, and Midnight Snack, which is a dark blue. I have a card base that I cut out, which is half a sheet of paper. And then I got the card front, which is exactly 1/8 of an inch smaller than the rest of the size of the front. So that is actually 4 by 5¼ inches. I got some extra scrap paper to do some stamping on. I got my chameleon alcohol markers, a couple blending brushes, and this is my color swatch that I'll be using this time. Those are all the color tone chameleon markers I'll be using, and then several colors. So the colors I'll be using today are sand, caramel, mellow yellow, lavender, turquoise, dark sage, and tangerine. So those are the colors I'll be using to colorize with. And our stamp of the month is actually a fun summer stamp. And it is called, let's see, Oceans of Happiness. So as you can see, this is a great little stamp set. It has a seahorse, a couple fish, a porpoise, a submarine, sayings such as, "This card has a porpoise, wishing you oceans of happiness. Seize the moment. There is no substitute for you. Friends are life's greatest treasures." Some seaweed, some ocean water, some bubbles, a treasure chest. And so we'll be using some of these stamps in our card today. We're going to be making a card. So first thing I'm going to do is select the stamps I want to use. So I haven't even opened this stamp set up. This is a brand new stamp set to me. Haven't even opened it up yet. So there we go. We'll throw that aside. And what I decided to use is I'm going to use the seahorse. So we'll get out the seahorse, the 2 little fish. So we'll have 3 fish in my picture. Of course, got to get some seaweed. Got to get our little bushes or aquatic plants. Got to get the bubbles. And then we'll be using, let's see, what kind of sayings do we want to use. Let's get the backer board so we can see it a little better. Let's use "Friends are life's greatest treasure" is what we'll put on the outside. Because I'm going to make this actually for a friend I'm going to send it to. And then "Wishing you oceans of happiness" is for the inside. Let's see, I think that's all that I wanted to use. We're using over half the stamps here. Let's hope we can get it all on one card. So, okay. So the first thing we're going to do before we get out any of these stamps and use them is we are going to do some ink blending. So we're going to take our 2 colors and we're going to do some ink blending on those. Just get this other stuff out of the way. We're going to create kind of an ocean background here today. And we're going to get our fossilized amber. And we're going to be just kind of making a sandscape here. Bring in some sand kind of in a little mound here. People ask me, what kind of brushes do you use? These are actually makeup brushes from the Dollar Tree. It was in a pack, a pack of them. So there we go. We got our sand in there. That will be enough to put our seaweed and our little plants and stuff like that along the bottom. Okay, I'm going to use a different brush. Usually I clean up my brushes with my microfiber cloth. We'll clean that brush out real quick, so if we need to use it again for another color, we can. I'm going to grab my bigger brush with my bigger ink pad, and we're going to put some Midnight Snack. Now this is a wonderful dark blue, but if you put it on lightly, it has a lighter effect. We're going to put some water in here. Now I'm not doing a swirling motion on the paper. I'm just going back and forth, kind of like waves are. We'll bring this down right to our, I don't want to blend really that in with the fossilized amber there, but I do want to create a kind of a really close. So there we go. That wasn't bad at all. Now I'm using a glass media mat by Tim Holtz. So what I do, let me clean off this brush real quick. Don't want that ink to stay on there. And this microfiber I just use over and over again until it gets so inked up that I have to throw it away and get another one. And you can get these as I think a 2-pack. You get a green one and a blue one at Dollar Tree for $1. So, and then what we're going to take is we're going to take this just in case there's extra ink because I was inking off the paper. We're just going to get that ink up off the glass media mat because you really can't see it. But you'll see it on white paper if it gets over there. So there's our background. We have it done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ink, our stamping blocks, and our little pieces of paper here. I didn't know how much paper I would need, but we're going to start stamping these off. Now I'm using Memento's Tuxedo Black. It's a fade resistant dye ink, and it's great for stamping and great for coloring too. So we're going to pick one of these stamps. Let's just do our little seaweed. Let me think here a second. I think I can color right on there. So instead of having all those, let's put some of our background seaweed actually right on here. So let's get our, where's our seaweed? That's a plant. Here's the seaweed. Okay, so we're gonna get one of our little stamp blocks. Now this is a little, I'll give you a little trick. This is a brand new stamp. So everybody's talking about seasoning and how you can season it in this way, that way. The best way I've heard about seasoning it, and the best way I do it, is take your forearm and stamp along your forearm. What this does is it gets those oils off of the stamp that are on it, but it also puts the oils from your hand or from your skin onto the stamp, and it seasons your stamp. If you see, look at the difference between these two stamps. One is real clear, one's a little fuzzy. So that means you've seasoned your stamp. We're gonna open our Memento here, and you want to get it just good on there. And we're just gonna very carefully, sorry if I got my head in the way. There we go, we got that one. Let's do one more along the bottom here on this side. All right, and we're done with that stamp. Now, same thing I do with my thing. I clean off my stamps with my microfiber cloth, and it's good as new. Look at that. We're going to take our other stamp, put it on there. We're going to season our stamp. I'm going to have to do these with all the stamps. And go ahead and put our ink on it. Maybe. There we go. We're going to go back in here and color this with some green. Alrighty. There we go. We got those stamps down. We're going to also clean this with a microfiber cloth. Get that uncovered. Slip over to our other plants here. Now these will have to add some coloring to, but I'm hoping that coloring will go good over this blue and teal. So there's one of our plants we're going to put in. We're just going to put one of him in. And we're going to use this other plant here. It's kind of blown by the... As you see, I'm getting nice clean images. That's because I've seasoned my stamp. I'm getting nice clear pieces. I'm pushing nice and firmly. Her quality stamps, MayMay Made It stamps are a high quality. So you can push a little bit down on it. It's not going to smear and smudge and blur. So you can give it a little pressure. Alrighty, that's all we're going to do there. Well, let's go ahead and finish this up right now so we have this bottom done. We're going to grab this this dark sage. Going to come in here with these and color in our seaweed. I knew this would be a dark enough color to actually show up. And doesn't take anything. It's funny because they have those adult coloring books out, and I know many of you love those to help soothe yourself. I cannot stand the adult coloring books, but ask me to color a card like this, and I'm all into it. Go figure. And I'm just taking the fine tip, not the brush tip, and using this because it's more exacting. Luckily my head's not in the screen so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm just putting little brush strokes on top of these. Doesn't matter if it comes off the line a little bit, that's okay. It won't hinder the look of the card. It'll just make it look like it's swimming through the water. So, the only thing I wish this stamp set had was some waves. Wave marks in there. But that's okay, we got some bubbles we're gonna play with. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab our lavender. And I'm going to use the fine tip here, and then we're going to play along to see how this colors in on this top of this other coloring. These are an alcohol-based marker, so they're coloring actually quite nicely on top of this. And then we're going to do a little mound of caramel and color this base in here a little darker. The same thing over here on this one in the caramel. And let's see, what color do we want to do that one? Oh, well, turquoise. Let's do this turquoise. The ocean is full of colorful fish, which you'll see as we color our fish and stamp them out. There we go. There we have our background all colored and stamped in. Wonderful. We'll set that aside. We'll keep that memento out, keep our stamp blocks out, because we're going to stamp some fish on some, let's use up this piece. As you can tell, I've been doing some Christmas cards. So those stamps are already done. Let's do a fish. Let's see, I need a bigger block than that. Let's find the next bigger block. There it is. Bigger block. Season it. And we're gonna there we go, a nice clean stamp. Got that one stamped. Now what I'm going to be doing with these is I'm going to be cutting these out. So we can those will be just adding to afterwards. Here's a little guy. The little guy that matches that guy. We're going to be free cutting those out. I love her stamps because they are so crisp and clean. The photopolymer she uses just gives it a great detail and great things. So let's do this. Oh, he needs a little bigger one. Maybe this guy will fit on here. Yep. He fits on that block. We're turn this sideways. Go put him in there. There we go. We got our 3 sea creatures. Clean that stamp off. Move that. Okay. All right. We're going to let that dry a little bit. And we're going to take our card base. We're going to open it up. And let's see. Oceans of Happiness. That's the one we want. Wishing you oceans of happiness. We're going to go ahead and create our sentiment on the inside of our card. And I closed that ink thing too quickly. I'm going to find the center here. About. Stamp that down. There we go. Now, all of you might not have this kind of thing, but as a nifty scrapbooker, I have this thing I put on all my cards. It's a pre-made stamp. I got it from, I designed it, the stamp, and I had it printed from Vistaprint. And we're going to just give that a stamp. It says created just for you by the nifty scrapbooker. There we go. We got our outside card base done. There's our card front. All right, that should have given us enough time to get this dry so we can start coloring. We're going to color these little fish. I'm going to use the brush tip, and we're going to use the mellow yellow. So we're going to color their bodies. This mellow yellow. I like it. It's kind of a lemon yellow. It's not too bright, but it's not too orangey. So there we go. Oh, let's color this guy's body too. We've got our 2 yellow fish. Now we're going to come in with the orange. Let's bring the, we're going to do the fins in the orange. And the tail fin and these here. There we go. Get that fin. Okay, we got that fin done. Kind of get the outline. If you notice, I'm going the outline of the fin, coming back in, and then scribbling in the middle and getting that finished off. Okay? So people say, you got that colored already? I'm like, I'm a fast colorer, actually. But as you know, with all these, I'm kind of doing the outside rim first, and then coming in with the inside. Now this little fin is so little, the inside and the outside is the inside. All right, there we got our 2 fish colored. All righty, now we're going to take the sand and the caramel. And let me do some of the caramel spots first. So decide what I'm going to do these dots in the caramel. It's a little darker than the sand. Maybe we'll do this fin in sand. I mean, in caramel. And then let's do every other stripe. Start here. Every other stripe. All the way down his tail. Okay. Let's do everything else in sand. I'm using the brush tip on this because it's bigger work. Because the other was a little more detailed. As you can see, I'm going to switch now because I'm going to do those lines. I'm going to switch over to the tip, the regular tip, not the brush tip, and come in and do the rest of these stripes. There we go, and there's our thing. Okay, now we're going to build our scene. I'm going to take my scissors, which I use the Fiskars spring-loaded scissors. We'll be fussy cutting around here. There we go. Sometimes I like to do this. Instead you have that paper all over it, you can kind of cut that paper off so that gives you less stuff to hold on to. And it's not getting in your way of your scissors. That's a little trick I've learned. Alrighty, we got our first fish. Let's get our second fish. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart. Cut that off of there. Get this snowflake out of there. That's all trash. Throw that in my trash bin. I'll go ahead and cut these guys out. This guy's almost a circle. Just a few bumps around his fins and we get him fussy cut it out. There we go, got our second fish. And then our seahorse here, we can't forget him. He's adorable. Alrighty, there we got our little fish. Now we're going to decide where we want them. And what I think I'm going to do with these guys is I think I'm going to pop them up with pop dots. Let's put him over here. He could be saying the saying, which will go right here. And then we'll put some bubbles around. Okay, let's go ahead and get this stamped on here. I'm going to use our big stamp block for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to center that on there, get that lined up so it's straight. Season this stamp because it hasn't been seasoned yet either. Now all these other stamps have been seasoned, they've been inked, so they're good to go for other times. Now that I know kind of where my guys are going, I can put my sentiment on here. Friends are life's greatest treasures. Bring that down a little bit. And there we go. There's our stamp. Wipe our stamp off. Set that one aside. I only have one stamp I haven't used, and that's those little bubbles. So we'll wait till we get we'll wait to get those on later. We'll use this little one. We'll go ahead and put that on there. Let's go ahead and season that up. And have that ready on our stamp pad there. Let's get some, let's see, we're going to put some of these on pop dots. Let's get some pop dot tape. This I also get from Dollar Tree. Is the pop dot tape. And we're going to be just using little strips of it. That is for our little guy here. You want the pop dots to be on there and be so it doesn't bend. You want them covered. I'm going to go ahead and pull the tape off, the other side of the tape off that, so that's ready to put on there. I can just pick up and put him on there. And get little longer pieces for this guy. Oops, that's a little long. See, that's what happens if you start putting it on, put it on one side. You can come in like this, clip it shorter, and we're going to use this little square for his tail. See, so I didn't waste any. I just cut it just a little long. So we'll cut a little shorter one there and do it right through there. Whoops, got that one a little long too because his head goes in. So I'm going to take this tape and cut that off. There we go. And we're going to use actually this one. Whoops. Whoops, 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 whoops. Oh my goodness. My foam tape got stuck on my other fish. Very carefully peel that off, because we don't want to peel the tape off. I should have left that tape on there. Okay, so that guy's done. I'm going to take this one and put it on his beak. I don't know if that'll fit on his beak or not. Oops. Dropped him on my lap. There we go. Perfect. Perfect pop dot for that. And we're gonna run a bigger one down his body. Get all that. So, okay, there we go. His beak was kind of flimsy, so you'll want to make sure you get his beak, his bill, or what do they call that on the end of a snout? I guess on the end of a fish like this. Put him up there. Put this little guy over here. Take the tape off of this one. All three of them. There we go. And put him right there. Now we got our little bubbles. So we're going to put some bubbles around. I don't know how this is going to work with his pop dots, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, perfect. There we go. Some bubbles from him. Bubbles here. There we go. Bubbles here. There we go. Let's give this guy some more bubbles. Doesn't that look cute? Friends are life's greatest treasures. Now all we're going to do is we're going to take this and clean this stamp off. Make sure you clean your stamps off. Yeah, that's important. Put that away. Stamp blocks are done. Now we're going to take, now I use the ATG gun for my long adhesive. I'm going to be putting adhesive on all four sides of this. And for good measure, I always put one down the middle. That way you want your card not to come off the card base. We're going to adhere that down. Make sure we got that. Then what I like to do is I like to take, I have these pens are 20 years old, but I like to take these pens and from Creative Memories and just do a ridge around the outside. I'm going to use a yellow. I want an orange, but I don't have an orange pen. This is kind of a yellowy orange, so it's going to suffice. It just gives an extra little detail on the edge of the card, and that little 1/8 of an inch spot that you have there around the outside of the card kind of fills it in, gives it a little bit of punch of color. And there we got our, and this is MayMay made it July stamp set. And isn't that card just adorable? I love it. Friends are life's greatest treasures. Wishing you oceans of happiness. So that's our card today and our stamps from the July release of MayMay Made It stamp set. We hope you enjoy this. You can pick it up on her store and pick this set up. And we hope you enjoy creating cards similar to this on your next card project. We'll see you next time on The Nifty Scrapbooker.